And welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant, and this is Friday First. This is that series where we talk about those brand new number one issues, new character debuts, new story arcs, and the like. And this is for books that are coming out the second week of February, February 12th, 2025. And I'm recording this at 5 o'clock in the morning on Thursday morning because I'm about to leave for Corpus Christi Anime Con. We're going to set up at that show with the comics and the crochet stuff and everything. So I'm probably going to go through this quicker than I normally would because there are actually a lot of books to talk about this week. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. And hopefully I get a chance to edit this and get it posted on time before I leave. But we'll see. If not, you're not hearing this anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But anyway, I've got 4 recaps from last week's books. Then we have, I think I have 6 honorable mentions and then like 8 other books. And then, of course, the usual, non-first after that. So we're not going to waste any more time. We're just going to get right into the recaps. So the first book that I'm going to recap from last week's firsts is Shazam issue number 20. This was kind of a one-off story. It's kind of a transitional thing. It's a different creative team came in for this one story, and then the regular creative team is coming back next issue to kick off the next arc. So this was just a fun aside where this genie escapes from the Eternity Rock, or the whatever you call the area where all the doors and stuff are, that has kind of settled itself inside of Billy Batson and family's home. So this genie escapes, happens to supposedly cause John Kent to get hit with this lightning bolt that de-ages him, right? So he happens to be flying over Philly at the time that this lightning bolt hits and all this stuff. So the whole issue is Mary Marvel and the captain trying to help John figure out how to change back, and nothing they try works, and all this stuff, and hilarity ensues. They visit Damien for a beat because he doesn't end up as a baby as I thought it had said he was going to do, but it actually de-aged him back to a super son. It was back to basically the age that he was before he aged up. So it was kind of funny. Just a nice little fun story. Needed? Not really. Best de-aging story I've ever read? Probably not, but I had fun with it. I enjoyed it, is what it is. Next up, we have the Ultimates issue number 9. This is the introduction to the Ultimate Universe version of Luke Cage, who we find out was imprisoned at 15 years old for no clear reason whatsoever, probably because his name was on a list of people that could possibly be future heroes, and the maker made it so that he would serve life in prison. So basically they tell him, oh, you'll probably be out in a year, and 20 years later he's still there, and he gets approached by the Ultimates, etc. But we kind of just watch him come up through the prison system and still maintain his good nature and his willingness to help everyone. I thought it was a really nice and kind of deep commentary issue on Luke Cage, but it also introduced us to his purpose in this world, in this book, and on the Ultimates team. And we get this little conversation with the Hulk and or the She-Hulk and Iron Man, who is still obviously unconscious. And that was a nice moment as well. So it was a little bit of a slower issue. We're about to ramp up again, I think, starting next issue, but it was still a really good read. This book has really turned around from the start of it. These past several issues have been really solid, and it gives me hope for the future for this book. Next up, we have Star Wars Legacy of Vader issue 1. This is the beginning of the First Order under Kylo Ren. We start where Snoke has been killed, as seen in the movie, by Rey, and now Kylo is trying to pick up the pieces, but his past keeps clouding his mind and kind of plaguing him. He thinks that he needs to expel all the past. He's already gotten rid of his parents and all that stuff from the movie as well. They're all gone and everything, but now he's living in the shadow of Darth Vader, and he thinks he needs to exorcise that demon as well. So we follow Kylo on this journey to kind of find himself a little bit. Um, it felt very much like the modern movies, and it felt very much in character for Kylo Ren. So in all of that, I think it would they nailed the creative team nailed this. You visually looked like the actor. Um, you know, the dialogue and everything matched what I would imagine him saying in film and everything. And it felt very in tune, in line with what we saw in the film. So by that determination, it was a good read. It was, and I actually really enjoyed it, and it kind of got me excited for this new era of Marvel Star Wars comics, because I fell off the last run a while back. So I'm kind of looking at these new number ones as a jumping on point for myself, and so I'm excited to see what comes in the future from the Star Wars stuff. And finally, for the recaps, we have Power Man, Timeless, more Luke Cage, and this is a version of Luke Cage we saw in the Timeless one shot, um, you know, last year, and now we have him kind of finding his way into our Earth or our universe, and he sees, things are quite different, or at least a different world than his, based on what happened there. I'm not exactly sure where he is, or what time period this is taking place. But if you're not familiar with this version of Luke Cage, he is from a world where he is the last superhero living. He has the unbreakable skin and everything, but he also has the Hulk's gamma radiated blood running through his veins, and he controls the immortal Iron Fist. So he also has the powers of the Sentry and the Void. So he's got all these kind of voices in his head and all these things battling against each other. And also the Void is narrating the story, which I think is kind of interesting. And at one point, it becomes clear that this is actually running dialogue in his brain. So that's kind of pretty cool. So he comes in contact with this person that needs help. He fights this foe. Bad things happen there, and now that's where we kind of pick it up. They're having their rematch, and he hulks out and all this stuff. So I thought it was a decent read. I'm curious to see where this character goes, what kind of impact they're going to have, if they're going to have any impact at all. I think it could be interesting to see this character in the main universe, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen, full on or not, or if this is just kind of a one-off kind of thing. I don't know. I'll see. I'll try another issue and see where it goes. So that's it for the recaps. Let's get into those honorable mentions. So the first honorable mention is a slew of Valentine's books, actually. First up is Dick Tracy Valentine's Day Special. If you've been following the Dick Tracy series from Mad Cave, and you like Valentine's Day, you might want to check this one out. All these crimes, or all these murders, start happening on this set of this romantic movie. And so that's kind of what kicks this one off. And he also finds himself transported into the life of his dreams and all this stuff. So if you're a Dick Tracy fan, you might want to check that one out. Next up, we have Creep Show in Love. Again, if you're a Creep Show fan and you like, horror injected into your love stories, you might want to check this one out from Image Comics. Next up, we have the Powerpuff Girls Valentine's Moi Moi Kissy Face Special, issue 1. And yeah, I mean, it's the Powerpuff Girls. It's Valentine's Day. It's a 40-page book that is handwritten on rose-tinted paper by Paulina Ganeshaw, and lovely drawn by Savannah Ganeshaw, featuring a bouquet of covers from both of them, and others. So lots to unpack there, but that's kind of cool, actually, that it's handwritten and stuff. And we have Mojo Jojo's villainous schemes, going forward, transforming fairy tale adventures through heart-shaped eyeballs and all this fun stuff. So if you're a Powerpuff Girls fan, you might want to check this one out as well. Next up, just a mention here, the Valiant Universe Ultimate Guide one shot. If you are new to the Valiant Universe, you want to learn more, this is a look at all of that, and it also gives you a first look at what's coming past the Resurgence event. So if you have been following Resurgence and you want to see what's coming in the future, or you're just wanting to jump on and kind of get a sneak peek, this is the book to do that with. Next up, we have Cyberpunk 2077 Psycho Squad issue number 1. Again, if you're a Cyberpunk fan, you might want to check this one out. This is written by Dan Waters, so if you like Dan Waters' writing, this might also be for you. And finally, we have DC versus Vampires World War V Darkness and Light issue 1. So if you are a fan of the DC and versus Vampires, stories and series and stuff like that, I've never read them, so I can't speak on that. But that I wanted to include this for you in case you are. And this is a special issue, 40 pages, $5.99, and it is written by Matthew Rosenberg with art by Daniel Bayliss. So that's all the honorable mentions. Let's get into those rated books. First up, delivering the cute, we have Marvel Mutts issue number 1. This is collecting issues 1 through 12 of the Friday Funny series, which I'm not familiar with. But it's all the dogs in the Marvel universe. You've got obviously you've got Cosmo, you've got Bats, you've got Mrs. Marvel's or Miss Marvel's Doggy Mittens, you got Lockjaw, Lucky, etc. That's always kind of a fun time, right? So if you are a fan of the dogs, you might want to check this one out. For me, I'm giving a possibly good. You never know with these animal stories whether they're going to hit the right note or not, and I'm not familiar with these particular tales, so I don't know. But this is a 48-page book for $6.99 with a possibly good from me. Next up, we have X-Men issue number 11. This is a new story called Planetfall, where these warriors come to Earth pursuing the target, and they come right straight for Alaska, which is where the X-Men are based. So they get pulled into it. You see this giant alien fish-like thing going on here. So I don't know what's going on with this particular story, but I'm intrigued at the very least. And given that the recent issues of X-Men have been pretty solid, I'm going to give this one a promisingly good, and we'll see what this story has in store for us. Next up from Oni Press is this new series called Mine is a Lonesome Grave, issue number 1. And this is by Justin Jordan, who did the Strange Talent of Luther Strode, Dead Body Road, has a really popular webtoon as well. So this follows a violent ex-con named Harley Creed, who kind of disappeared in West Virginia, and now he's come back because there's this magic town. He's gonna die in like 7 days unless he finds this unseen enemy and takes out his revenge on them. So it's this revenge horror kind of supernatural, magical force kind of thing by somebody that is good at that kind of thing. So it's interesting. I don't know if I'll get to pick this one up or not. I can't always find Oni Press stuff, but I'm going to give this one a potentially good just based on that concept. It's a pretty meaty concept. So, and Justin Jordan's a really good writer. So potentially good for me. Next up is a new series from Image Comics called Bug Wars, issue number 1. This is written by Jason Aaron. And this follows this kid from Alabama who somehow ends up in this world with marauding ant armies and spellcasting spider witches and all this stuff. And this craziness kind of becomes his life now. And now we're going to follow him in this dark epic fantasy world in Bug Wars. So that's kind of a cool concept. And Jason Aaron is Jason Aaron. So I'm definitely intrigued by this one. And I'm going to give this one a promisingly good. Keeping with the bug theme, we have the Hive, which may be about bees, but we're not sure. This cover is what some people are saying caused them to want to pick up this series. You got a gun shooting out, bees instead of bullets. I don't know what's going on here. The description is very vague. It says, all right, I'm just going to read it. Mason Shaw is no one, a worker bee. All that changes when he crosses paths with a few stragglers trying to stay one step ahead of a queen with immense powers who is determined to control her hive, no matter who she has to kill. Welcome to the Hive. So you don't really know if this is about bees or if this is just a metaphor or what's going on here, but I'm intrigued. This is by a writer that I'm not totally familiar with, AJ Lieberman. So I really don't know what to think about this one. The cover is intriguing. I will give you that, but I'm going to give the Hive a potentially good, and I am going to try it out and see what it's all about. This is from Image Comics. Next up is Cam Girl issue 1. This is from AWA, Artists, Writers, and Artisans. This is a one shot, and it's about a girl who likes to party, but also is, I don't know the proper term for it, but I'll just read it here. She's obedient, she's exotic, she's a walking stereotype that caters to her customers' basest fantasies. So I don't know what the proper term these days is for that kind of work, but she has both of these sides of her, and these two sides kind of collide, and she starts getting all these threatening messages, and she's got to discover who she truly is and to survive all this. And it says this is a self-contained double-sized one-shot. It's by Sarah Cho, who did Red Light, and CP Smith, who did Sins of the Salton Sea. And it's a $6.99 comic, so just keep that in mind. It sounds like an interesting concept. I'm going to give it a potentially good. The art looks kind of cool for this one. If that is the interior art, I kind of like that. I like the vibe. So yeah, sounds pretty interesting. So I might check it out and see. I've got a lot of books next week, so we'll see what happens with that. Winding down with our final three, we have Eddie Brock Carnage issue 1, and this is the new direction for Carnage and for Eddie Brock. I don't know that I love Eddie Brock as Carnage. I haven't really been keeping up with a lot of the Venom stuff, except for All New Venom, which I am enjoying. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to feel about this one. This is written by Charles Soule, though. Jesus Sayes doing art, so I'm going to check this one out. But I'm a little skeptical of it. I'm going to give it a possibly good, and we'll see what that first issue has. One I am very excited about, though, is Green Lantern Corps issue number 1. This is written by Jeremy Adams, and this is finally here. This spin-off series of the Green Lantern stuff, continuing a lot of the Green Lantern threads that we've been following. We've got John Stewart, Kyle Rayner, Jessica Cruz, Guy Gardner, Joe Mullane, everybody else in there as well. And the spectrum is fractured, as we know, and we're going to kick this saga off right with this series. So I'm super excited about this one. I'm giving this one a positively good. And I just can't wait to read this one. And finally, from Marvel, we have One World Under Doom. This is what we've been building up to since Blood Hunt and Doctor Doom tricked Doctor Strange out of getting Sorcerer Supreme power and all this stuff, and now he has become the ruler of the world, basically. I don't know. Anyway, it says here he's disappeared behind Latveria's closed borders, and now somehow the world has woken up to a new reality where Doom rules the world. He's magically taken over with this and broadcast through every medium on the planet, and now he's the ruler of United Latveria. So we're getting he's turned the world of Marvel into an Elseworlds, and we're going to see how that all plays out in the months to come. I'm excited about this. I think this could be fun. This is written by Ryan North with art by RB Silva. So I'm excited, but I definitely want to read it first. I'm going to give it a promisingly good, and we'll see what kind of tone the story has, where it's going, and all that stuff. But I am excited for this One World Under Doom initiative, event, whatever you want to call it. And that's it for next week. So let's talk about those other few books that I am also anticipating. New Champions issue number 2. I actually really enjoyed issue 1. I thought it was quite fun. We learned all about each one of the characters, and now we're going to meet some more allies, possibly some enemies, and all this stuff. Hellrune has summoned all these young heroes, as we saw towards the end of issue 1, and now we're going to see which ones actually end up with the team, if there's some conflict, all that good stuff. So it's a fun time. I mentioned Venom earlier in the episode. All New Venom number 3 is coming out as well, and Dylan Brock is getting involved. So maybe we'll get more clues as to who Venom actually is. It says Madame Mask is making her move against AIM while all this is going on as well. But we still don't know who Venom is. I'm excited to find out who it is. The moon is following is issue number 6. All hope is lost. That's how the description starts off, and we know if you read the first 5 issues that all hope is kind of lost, and now these characters are leaving Penny's memories, and now we got to see if whoever's left can actually make some kind of difference to save Penny. In Feral number 10, things came to a head with the lady that was keeping the cats last time. Now all the cats are trapped in a zombie cat house and all this stuff, so we're gonna have to see if they can escape. Transformers number 17, the battle continues as all sides are fighting against each other. Good guys against good guys, bad guys against bad guys. Ultra Magnus is coming, and we're debuting a brand new character in this issue, so I'm very excited about that as well. I should have put this on the first. I didn't realize that until just now, but that's okay. Aquaman issue number 2, last issue, he disappeared into a dark side Omega like symbol. Atlantis is obliterated. We're going to find out what happens with that. I'm excited to see that. Geiger issue number 11. Yeah, this issue we finally meet the poor soul that was transformed into a monster of mass destruction by the radioactive fallout. I just read that verbatim. So there's a doppelganger for Geiger, and we're going to see about that. And then Absolute Batman issue number 5. And it says, will the party end here for Absolute Batman? His friends' lives are at stake in this issue. We've got the Black Mask. We've got all kinds of stuff going on. This has been the best book in the Absolute Universe so far, and I'm excited for this issue as well. But that's it. That is all the books that I've got to talk about. That's all the time I've got to talk about them, if I have any chance of editing this in time. So I apologize if I rushed through this episode, but I hope you still got some information, some confirmation on books that you're thinking about picking up. Whatever the case may be, I hope you got some enjoyment out of this episode. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider hitting that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss any of the other episodes or other content on this channel. Of course, you can also follow me across social media at Only Good Comics, or type in onlygoodcomics.com to take you right back to this YouTube channel where we talk about only good comics. Until next time, thanks for watching. Take care, keep reading those comics, and I'll see you soon.